Good afternoon, Vernon. It's Friday afternoon after a long board meeting last evening, and I thought I'd come to you with our panel. Mr. Gagliostro here is on the right, Mr. Russ Rogers on the left, and Ms. Janet DeSenzo to my left, because we're going to discuss some of the things that we mentioned last night in our plan. Now, I want to be perfectly frank so that everybody's aware of what happened last evening. We presented our plan after 12 weeks of preparing for it to the Board of Education, and the Board of Education had some serious concerns with our plan. So, in the final vote, they voted 7-1 against the plan. Now, we did not need the vote of the Board of Education to send the plan to the state, and we were required to send the plan to the state this morning. So we have sent our plan, and we want everyone to know that the plan is still the hybrid/virtual learning plan that we have discussed all along. But I also sent a letter to our commissioner explaining how the board voted so that everyone was aware that there is consternation in our community about the plan. Now, this is not a Vernon situation, nor is it even a state situation or a county situation. It's a national situation. We find ourselves in a pandemic, and we're doing the very best we can to offer solutions both to our families that will show that we care about education and making sure our students get the best possible education, but also to our teachers and staff who we're concerned about as well. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about the plan itself so that people are aware of what's going on. We do know that 425 of our parents have already chosen virtual learning, but we also know about 1,300 parents are indicating that they would like to send their children to school, so it represents a split that we have to deal with our plan. So just to be fair and to be honest, things will change. We were saying this morning it could change weekly, and I think Mr. Gagliostro said hourly, the way things are working. So we will do the very best we can to keep information in front of you. We're going to send you a video early next week of what a lesson will look like, but we also wanted to talk a little bit about this today. So in a case of pure transparency, here we are the morning after, dealing with all that we have to deal with the state's plan and our plan, and making sure that our children are taken care of. So we wanted you to be part of this discussion. Right, so what are we seeing in the next couple of weeks that makes us feel like we're going to be able to do this? Vin?
Well, over the next month, we do have several professional developments already scheduled. We have a lot more coming. We have been working all summer with a lot of our staff to plan for this coming September. We have about 87 of our teachers working right now on developing curriculum and updating it and coming up with hybrid, remote, and blended learning types of lessons for the fall in preparation for any kind of scenario that we could possibly see. So at this point, it's just going to take the things that they have been working so hard on the last few weeks and sharing it out to all of our faculty and staff so that we can start preparing everyone to be comfortable and effectively teaching all of these different materials with the new tools that will be utilized online.
And the idea, of course, is working with our staff and making sure that we're communicating clearly with them, that our expectations are that we're prepared for any possibility that could happen, whether it would be remote or whether it is our plan where we have hybrid learning as well as remote learning. So it's a crucial piece is to start to say, well, what are the technological tools that our teachers need to use in order to make this happen? And we've talked a lot about this, Russ, with the curriculum.
We've had a lot of the teachers who've had success with online learning and have made great progress over the 3 months that we were virtual last year build upon that, and you think that they would be at a point to share everything that they had. They had spent a great deal of time and effort to improve upon their lessons before they're going to share out with other teachers on what they feel is a strong lesson that engages the students at home. So as eager as teachers are to find out about what we're doing as far as training, these teachers who felt like they were ahead of the curve spent an additional 6 weeks intensively researching and talking to Janet and other tech staff to improve their craft, to try to deliver the most engaging and create the most engaging lessons they can for our students at home. And these upcoming weeks, they hope to share that out with their peers and their other grade level teachers.
And what we heard last evening from the union president, Ms. Vicki Smith, is that teachers are very, very anxious to do the best possible effort that they can Obviously, we're concerned about health of our children and our staff, but they were really willing to work, ready to work. So of course, we want to encourage that and make sure that we are prepared. So one of the ways that we're doing that is working with our tech person who is responsible for the education of our teachers as well, Janet DeSenzo. And Janet has set up all sorts of professional development that will happen along with the professional development that our teachers are going to be offering teachers. So Janet, tell us a little bit about what we might be doing in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, so you know, here in Vernon, I just have to say that we are very lucky that we have so much infrastructure already in place.
Absolutely.
So we had been using our LMS for years. We've done tons of training in the past, both online training and in-person training, and all of those resources are already compiled into a Tech PD website that teachers can go to at any time and look at those tutorials and review anything that they need to. In addition to that, we are building a whole set of workshops. We've already got them ready to go. Teachers will be able to sign up for them in My Learning Plan next week, but they are focused, they're very much focused on the blended learning model. What is blended learning? What does it look like in practical aspects? How does it fit into our LMS, Schoology? So we're going to take, you know, those pedagogical questions of what is the philosophy and the framework, and then in a practical standpoint, take what does it actually look like in our LMS and in our lessons.
Mm-hmm.
So those teachers have been working all summer, have done an amazing job building templates and sharing and getting ready to share those out so that our content area teachers can just take their lessons and their information and kind of drop however they want to teach into those templates so that it's not a complete starting from scratch.
So the point would be that our teachers who may be in the classroom but also may be remote, depending on what happens with the state and what happens in the next couple of weeks, they're more than prepared to be able to do that kind of learning and teaching.
Yes, and
Yeah.
in addition to what we're doing, what we're offering here in August, we are going to have point people in each building.
Yes.
So that when those teachers say, you know what, I really need help with this, there is somebody to go to in every building who can actually sit with them one-on-one and say, can you go over my lesson plan, let's look at this together, and then be ready to roll it out to the students.
We call them blended learning experts, and we're going to have 3 at the high school, 2 at Glen Meadow, and 1 in each of the elementary schools. And of course, that's being paid for, those stipended positions is being paid for in part by the grant from the federal government, the CARES Act. So we are prepared in order to do in-person learning, the hybrid model, although it is not, like we said, it is not the plan that we know for sure we're going to go forward with, because we're waiting to see what the state has to say. And as you heard from last night's vote, the board was not supporting it as well. But I want everybody to know that, you know, the clean teams that we've been talking about are ready, you know, we're ready to post for those positions. We've done everything we possibly can in order to prepare. The question, of course, is, are we ready to now go remotely, all the way remotely? And the answer is yes. We're going to be working with our staff and making sure that that possibility is also covered. We do not live in an easy time. This is not an easy place to be, whether it's the head of a school district like Ms. Davino, whether it's one of these folks who are working their tails off to make sure that we get things done, to be a parent, particularly a working parent, and making sure that your children are taken care of, to being the IT person like the man behind the camera. It is not an easy time for any folks, particularly our staff who are trying to decide what we're doing. But we want people to know that the plan to moving forward is a hybrid with virtual learning at this moment, and we will see how things play out. So parents, we want you to know as we move forward into this uncharted territory that we have your back, and we're trying very much to help you. So what I'm going to post at the very end of this video, and you'll see it in a few seconds, is a list of all the CST people and their contact information in case you need to talk to them. Of course, Adam Kendler in grades K through 5 with special ed, and Cheryl Von Salzen in grades 6 through 12 can answer your questions. So please send them an email, but also you'll see the contacts for the various CST teams. We want you to know as we're moving into this territory that we talk about, that we've got ideas, and we want to make sure that we support you and make sure that you feel good about sending your child to school or being at home and working with them. And one of the things we're also working on is making sure that our parents understand technology as we are using it and what it means to use it, so that you're more prepared and you feel more comfortable with it. So one of the things we're going to do, Janet's going to talk a little bit about.
So part of my role as a tech coach here in the district is not just to support teachers and students, but we're looking to offer greater support for parents. So we know that so much of this is new. Most parents have never used Chromebooks before. This is a new operating system. So what I'm looking to offer, especially for students of K in first grade and any parent or grandparent who's new to the district, who's going to be supporting a student using Schoology. Schoology, we've used it here for 3 years, but if you're not familiar with it, you don't know how to log in, you don't know where to look for coursework and information. So I'm going to be going over that in a few live webinars that we plan on doing early in September. This way the parents feel a little bit more confident in helping their children when they need help logging into their coursework. One of the other things that we're looking to do is also offer more online tutorials, and we did set up a parent website last spring. Mr. Shea will be posting that up as we are speaking here, and you can feel free to go there and look at any of the video tutorials that are there. There are a few already there about how to log into Schoology depending upon what different device you're using at home. It's very different on a laptop than it might be on your phone or on a tablet. So look for that support there too.
So as we find ourselves at a crossroads, we will continue to work with you, continue to get information out to you, and continue to be as transparent as possible to make sure that the board, the parents, our teachers, staff, and administration is working with our children to make sure they get the best possible education. So we'll see you next week.